Today, we're going to learn about factoring trinomials. When we're factoring trinomials, the first step is that we need to find two numbers that meet certain requirements. Let's look at the example. Find two numbers that add up to 9 and multiply to get 20. We're going to draw an X like this, and then we're going to fill in the numbers. So I call this the X method. So we draw the X, and then we take the first number, 9, and we put that at the top with a plus. We want two numbers that add up to 9. Then we put the other number at the bottom, 20, with a multiplication sign because we want to multiply two numbers to get 20. So now we got to think of two numbers that meet those requirements. Well, let's see. How about 4 and 5? 4 plus 5 equals 9, and 4 times 5 equals 20. Yep, that works. Let's check it. 4 plus 5 equals 9, and 4 times 5 equals 20. Good, we've got our numbers. Now let's look at another example. This one has negative numbers. We want two numbers that add up to 2 and multiply to give us negative 15. This is a little more tricky. Well, we know we're going to need one positive number and one negative number. Two numbers that add up to 2 and multiply to negative 15, the answer is negative 3 and 5. Let's check. Negative 3 plus 5 equals 2, and negative 3 times 5 equals negative 15. Yes, we've got our two numbers. So here are three examples, and these are on your handout. Your handout is going to include exactly what's on this flip chart. So you're just following along, and you can do the problems as we go along. So here are three problems for you to try on your own. So pause the video and try these three problems now. Okay, now let's see how you did. 8 and 12, two numbers that add up to 8 and multiply to 12. The answer is 2 and 6. Number 2, two numbers that add up to 13 and multiply to 40. The answer is 5 and 8. Number 3, two numbers that add up to negative 5 and multiply to negative 36. Those two numbers would be negative 9 and 4. Negative 9 plus 4 is negative 5, and negative 9 times 4 is negative 36. Okay, the next problems from 4 through 9 are for you to practice on your own at the end of this video. So we'll skip those for now, and you can do them at the end. Now, we're going to use that X method to find two numbers to help us to factor trinomials. That's what we're trying to do, factor trinomials. So for example, number 1, we have x squared plus 8x plus 15. We want to factor that into two factors that look like this. They're both in parentheses, and they both have an x in the beginning. X blank and x blank. We need to figure out the numbers and the signs that go in those blanks. So how do we use the X method here? Well, we take the numbers that's the coefficient of x, which is 8, and we put that at the top because we want two numbers that add up to 8. And then we take the number at the end, the constant, and we put it at the bottom because we want two numbers that multiply to give us 15. Well, let's see if we can think of two numbers. Let's see. How about 3 and 5? 3 plus 5 is 8. 3 times 5 is 15. Those two numbers work. So let's put them into our factors. So the first number is a positive 3, so we're going to write plus 3. And the second number is a positive 5, so we're going to write plus 5. X plus 3 times x plus 5 equals x squared plus 8x plus 15. So we found our factors. Let's look at example 2. X squared minus 5x minus 24. Here we throw in some negative numbers. All right, the coefficient of x is negative 5, so that goes at the top. Two numbers that add up to negative 5. And the constant, or the number at the end, is negative 24. Remember to include those negatives. That's a negative 5 and a negative 24. So here goes our negative 24. So what are two numbers that add up to negative 5 and add to negative 24? Well, the numbers are 3 and negative 8. 3 plus negative 8 is negative 5, and 3 times negative 8 is negative 24. So now we can write our factors. We start out with the same format, the two sets of parentheses and the x's, and now we take the 3 and the -8 and fill them in. The 3 is positive, so we write +3, and the 8 is negative, so we write -8. X plus 3 times x minus 8. Those are the factors of x squared minus 5x minus 24. Now you can go ahead and finish the rest of the problems. Here are 2 problems with only positive numbers and 2 problems with some negative numbers. So your assignment is to finish all the problems on the handout that we haven't done already.